So let's start by going to Edges. We'll select a loop and we'll choose Boundary Loop, and we'll select this whole boundary. Let's right click and we'll do an Extrude. And I'm just going to send it straight back. And then I'm just going to go to Points and just begin to kind of clean up these points a little bit. As far as the position, just kind of smoothing them out a little. Let's go ahead and on these outer points, I'm going to bring these out a little bit more in preparation for what we're going to do here in a second. We'll take these outliers here and kind of move those forward. And then this one and this one, bring forward a little bit. Now, one of the ways we can reduce this, because there are a lot more points here than we have on our wrist, and so we need to start to route, kind of down res this. And so let's grab these edges right in here. So just these three. Let's do an Extrude. And we'll just kind of pull them back like that. Let's do the same thing down here. And I think that's the right ones, yep. And so let's do another Extrude out. Okay, now let's grab our points. I'm going to grab these 2 points, right click and do Weld, and this time instead of clicking in the middle, I'm going to click on this one over here. That's going to snap it to that point. Let's do the same thing here. Weld to that point, and then we'll repeat that on the bottom. Try not to get it cut off there. Weld. Okay, and then one more. So essentially what we've done is, if we take a look at this, so we had one, if we just take a look at the section, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we've taken it down to 4. So we've reduced it a little bit by rerouting those edges. Okay, we can kind of clean it up by moving these forward a little bit. Let's also start to come in and I'm going to kind of move this over a little bit and give us a little bit more resolution in here to kind of bend the hand. Kind of move this over a little. And same thing with the rest of the thumb. Okay, let's take this whole thing, and I don't want to do all the changes on one level. So let's take this and extrude it back a little bit more. Okay, and now here we can start to come in and say, okay, I'm going to take maybe these 3 points, weld them up to this top. Again, we can take this new point, move it down a little bit. As we start to get back here in the base of the hand, we're going to have less deformation that's going to need to happen here. I'll kind of pull these forward. You can see these points are getting really, really close. And so we can actually experiment with kind of welding those together. I'll pull those out a little bit and forward. And let's just start to keep a count of our resolution here. So if we kind of take a look at this, and let me clean this up a little bit more. So starting over here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So if our arm is, I think it's 8. Take a look at our arm. You remember we connected it up right up here. If we want that to be seamless, we need to get this 14 down to 8. So we need to eliminate 6. So let's start welding some points together. Now you can be a little bit more careful depending on the type of geometry that you have to have. If you have to have quads that you need, then you need to merge or weld at least 3 points together. That way you can get rid of this edge and still have a quad there. Otherwise, if triangles are okay, you can come in and say, I'm just going to weld these 2 points together. And that'll give you a triangle there, but it gives you now 1 point instead of 2. We can try doing the same thing that we did right here. Again, for instance, I can come in here at the top, and I can try to do that same thing here. So let's grab these couple of edges. Let's go ahead and extrude them out. So something like that, and then I'll grab these points and let's weld them over there and do the same thing here. And let's grab these points and just make sure to kind of move them forward a little bit. Let me grab this edge right here and let's dissolve that out. So you can see that gives you just a couple here. And then we can kind of smooth it out a little bit. So you can spend a little bit more time on this and you can get something that's a little bit cleaner, but the idea is the same, to reduce the number of polygons that are being connected up. Kind of pull this out. You could do the same thing down here. Let's see how many we have. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we still need to get rid of, I think, 3 more. So we can kind of do the same thing down here. Just extrude that out. Now if you started with, if you had 10, then obviously you don't have as many to reduce. Or, you know, we're trying to make this seamless. You know, if you have a glove at the wrist, then you don't have to worry about that. Right, if the wrist is not going to be seamlessly connected. All right, so now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I think 9. So we just have to get rid of 1 more. I'll show you a way we can kind of smooth this out in a second. Let's grab this whole thing again. And let's extrude it back. Scale it down a little bit. And then you can really start to kind of put these in the right spot. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so just confirming. Let's grab these 2 and weld those together. And now I just want to create kind of a rough cylindrical shape or something close to it. Kind of pull that over. Kind of get these to be sort of equidistant apart. Not too far apart. So something like that. Now let's come in and kind of spread these out. I'm going to grab this edge in here and dissolve it. We can also come in and use the brush. So it is going to be transform tools. And let's use the middle mouse and we'll go sideways to dial in the radius. And I want to change this to smooth. And then we can come in and just paint over these points, and that'll serve to kind of smooth them out a little bit. So something like that. All right, so once we've got that, we can now connect it up to the wrist. So let's do that next.